Hey guys, this is Lazy Hanger here, formerly known as Bush Bumming 29. Um, my Bush Bumming 29 account is shut down right now because of I was trying to sign into Google and stuff, and something happened, and they think that there's suspicious activity, so they put a hold on my account, and I haven't been able to get a hold of them, get it back on, anything. So I don't know if it'll ever be back on. I'm going to try to save all the videos I can, but in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and start a new video, or a new channel. Um, Last year I was only out 4 or 5 times, and that's why I've been gone so long. I haven't been out hardly at all. But today's topic is day pack contents. I'm working on mine because I've kind of been out of the loop for a while. And I'm fixing to go on a day hike overnighter. And if you remember Captain Bart, maybe you remember Captain Bart's video where me and him did a day hike overnighter. And we basically took just what we would take on a day hike, kind of like what you see here, and went out for an overnight. But minus all this good stuff, we had space blankets, and I had one as a tarp, and one that was a bag that I crawled into. So on that excursion, we had a nice fire, which really made the whole trip, because if we wouldn't have had that fire, it would have been a lot worse. But when you have one of these Mylar potato chip bag, basically, I ended up crawling in it when I was ready to go to bed, and I started sweating real bad, and then I'd crawl out of it, and I would freeze because I'm soaked with sweat. And the temperatures at that trip were probably high 30s, low 40s, I'm guessing. I can't really remember off the top of my head. It was pretty cold. It definitely survived the night. These things will save your butt, but they're not my first choice. That's like a last option for me. And I learned that the hard way, because I've always just thrown those in my kit thinking, yeah, I'll get through the night fine. I'll just curl up, go to sleep, and wake up next morning and heck my way out. It doesn't work like that. I've also learned that if you need some good sleep in order to function. And I did not get much sleep, if any at all, that night. Like I said, I was in and out of it. I'd crawl in, get sweaty, crawl out, get cold, crawl in, get sweaty, crawl out, get cold, and that was the theme that night. Not comfortable by any means. Kind of a pain in the butt. And I swore that I would always carry some decent equipment as a backup in my day kit. And so that's what we've got here. And these 4 things here are going to depend on the temperature. Right now, in this time of year, we've got July, August, September even. We've got anywhere between mid to low 70s to mid to high 60s. And with that type of weather, I can get by with this setup. Any colder than that, I'm probably going to go to ground. In the 50s, I might be able to get away with a hammock and a little bit thicker sleeping bag, maybe a 40-degree bag. But, that being said, that'll change. I find that in colder weather, it's easier to go to ground and stay warm, because you don't have to worry about that conductive breeze below you sucking your body heat out. So, what I've got here for my backup kit is a Grand Trunk ultralight hammock. And I've had a video in the past where I tried this before, and I failed miserably. It was too cold for a hammock, and I tried lowering it clear down almost to the ground and piling up pine duff underneath me as kind of like an underquilt. It just didn't work. I was inside 2 SOL bivvies. I just could not stay warm. Um, and so this is my idea. Instead of like a Mylar bag of some sort, I've got a Grand Trunk ultralight hammock, which will give me some form of comfortable sleep. Then I've got a 5x8 sill tarp, which will keep me covered. The bug net for this, to keep the bugs off of me. And then a Snug Pack Jungle bag. It's a very lightweight sleeping bag. It's not a cold weather bag at all, but it will offer me some protection in this kind of a weather. You know, even in the 60s, I'm probably going to need to have some form of light jacket on, because this isn't thick at all. This is very thin. But that'll give me some form of semi-comfortable sleep, I hope. Again, this is in testing. So that's my backup shelter system if for whatever reason, in the unlikely event that I got stuck out overnight. That's that. These are the straps that go with the hammock. I just didn't get them in the bag. That green pack there, that's my first aid kit that covers cuts and burns, the 2 major injuries where I go. You're dealing with fire a lot. You're going to get burned at some point. You're dealing with knives and cutlery a lot. You're going to get cut at some point. The other third major one, depending on what kind of terrain you're in, is sprains, mechanical injuries to your ankles and your feet. I don't have rough enough terrain to worry about that. I do have I think a small ace bandage in there. But, you know, that'll deal with the minor things. I have my Canterbury cook set back there with the stove on the bottom. That might get switched out for a titanium pot, and I'll still keep the stove. Because I'm trying to keep this as light as possible. I'd like to keep this bag under 20 pounds. And so, moving on, we've got a cook kit, or a food pack here that's got 3 packets of oatmeal, 3 tea bags, and 2 packets of hot cocoa. That would get me through a night fairly well. I could divide the oatmeal up, you know, a packet and a half at night, a packet and a half in the morning, and I'd be good to go. I've got my, this is a Mini Bull design stove. I forget the model. I want to say BIOS, some number afterwards, maybe a 4, maybe a 5. I don't remember. But it's a good little stove. It's very sturdy. And I have yet to add alcohol into this kit yet for that stove. Next thing, this is coffee and sugar. Then my 2 Gatorade bottles for my water bottles. My headlight. This is my GPS. This is for, I'm planning on every time I go out to a different backcountry site, I'm going to try to map the area on my GPS as accurately as I can, because the map that the state park gives you is junk. It's very inaccurate. It's hard to tell when you have to turn here, turn there, or whatever. It's very crudely drawn and not very good. So that's that. That's going to be attached to my pack strap. This is my knife. This is a Nick Wheeler knife. Very good knife. I wish the handle was thicker, but it does have a distal taper going back. Good knife. This is a sheath that I made that'll fit this and one other knife that I made. But it's a hand tooled, hand cut and everything leather, with oak leaves on it. This here is a hygiene pack. This has got things like toilet paper, wet wipes, chapstick, and I still have to get some, but I have to throw it in there, is some Gold Bonds medicated powder, so that, you know, if you've been hiking all day, you've got your feet are wet, you can throw some Gold Bond, throw a fresh pair of socks, you're good to go. Chafing, that'll take care of a lot of things. This is my fire kit. This is a flint steel kit. This has got my striker and a piece of some kind of striking rock. A little piece of leather to protect the char cloth in here, and also to keep the noise down a little bit. And that goes in a Malcolm Coder or Hidden Woodsman pouch, along with a ferro rod. This is a really old ferro rod. I haven't used this one in a long time, if you can tell. But it'll work. And then, lastly, is I have a survival pack, and I've made this video before. That's why none of this is in the package. This is an FR1 pouch, and we'll go over the contents here real quick. You can see the pouch there. For shelter, I've got a single space blanket, a two-person space blanket, and a little thing of duct tape. This is for, I can use one as my tarp. I can turn the other one into a sleeping bag, and use that. And this is a last ditch, no other options. I've lost everything else kind of kit. Very unlikely that I'll ever need it, but that being said, I do have it if I do. So that would be shelter. I do need to add some cordage to this kit. These are some fire tenders from the Wilderness Outfitters thing. I forget what they call these, but they're basically a cotton pad soaked in kerosene or diesel, and then soaked in wax, and then a ferro rod. Let's see here. Water. I have a 1 liter water bag that'll stand up on its own and has like a little closure. I have a Aquamir Frontier Pro filter, and I have some, let's see, 10 liters worth of tablets, purification tablets. On the next step, I have signaling and direction. In this little pouch, I have a signal mirror, a miniature signal mirror, and a whistle. And then I also have a Brunton compass. Also, for tools, I have this is my Tops MSK 2.5, good little knife for this type of kit. And I've got it in a neck sheath. And then on the pouch itself, I have a little headlight that clips to your hat from Gander Mountain. And then otherwise inside, all that's left is a small flashlight, some pills. This has got some Tylenol, Advil, and maybe a few other things, and then a Gerber multi-tool. That's my last ditch, if all else fails type kit. Like I said, I do need some cordage in there, but this is my day pack. This is all going in the Deuter Futura 28AC. This is, like I said in the beginning, this is an evolution, so there may be things that come out, may things that go in. The shelter will depend on the weather and the temperature. And this stuff will very rarely ever be used unless I'm doing like I'm going to do this week and do a day hike overnighter where I know I'm going in for an overnight and just taking what I would take in my day pack. And this isn't just packed in here just because I know I'm going to be sleeping out and I don't want to be uncomfortable. This is always going to be in here, in the proper temperature range, because in my mind I'll carry a little extra bulk and weight in order to have some decent night's sleep. If I'm lost out there and I get turned around and have to stay overnight, I'm going to be in a weird mindset. I'm not going to be myself. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be freaking out. In order to get a good night's sleep, I have to be able to be comfortable. And that little bit of comfort goes a long way in resetting my mindset, saying, hey, I've got the stuff I need to get out of here. Let's figure this out. Without that good night's sleep, having to fight with a potato chip bag all night, you're going to be hard pressed to have a decent mindset the next day to try to get out of there. That being said, if you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear what you guys have to think on this kit. Let me know what I need to add. Let me know what I need to take out. What you think of it, all that kind of stuff. I'm interested to hear people's opinions. And Until the next one, guys, thank you for watching.